What was Sandhills Community College's physical layout the first time you took the chair on the board?
It was 4 buildings. These 3 across here and Kennedy, and that was it. And of course the maintenance building, but that was it. And the tennis courts were right behind, right off to the left of where the auditorium is, was where the tennis courts were. Yeah, I became chair in 1985. In '86 we did a bond issue. We had not done one in a while, and the schools did one. And my wife at that time, who's now deceased, was on the school board. So we put together a package for the schools and the college. It was going to be very contested, and we passed it by 100 votes, or a little over 100. It was a very close election, but that started us on the move. And we got out of that the library, the music building, and the auditorium. And those 3 came out of the bond issue, and they've changed the whole campus. That auditorium has added a tremendous amount of, because we can do events and all. It's just brought us a lot. It's helped the college grow. It's helped the foundation grow. So, and that's one of the most important things was that bond issue. It set sail.
So how have bonds played a role in the phenomenal growth you've seen?
Well, they have given us the ability to provide facilities which other community colleges couldn't have because they couldn't pass the bonds. The people in Moore County have been very supportive of Sandhills Community College, and they voted for every single bond issue. So but we've also, I think the leadership at Sandhills has also been in tune with the public. We don't ask for things that we don't need. And so when, you know, the buildings that we've gotten, we've utilized. And so the area has benefited, but the college has also benefited from that. That's the most important thing.
How conscious were board members of the need to ensure racial diversity on campus and on the board?
Well, the board was very conscious, and the board took the lead. Let me give you an example. We brought the first African American on the board. He was a county commissioner named Bill Simmons. Then we brought Philip McMillan, who was a school principal at Pinecrest. We brought Philip on the board. Philip retired. We put Philip out trying to recruit black faculty, and that was the toughest thing in the world. He would travel around trying to recruit black faculty members to come here, but nobody wanted to move here. They wanted to go to the cities. So we were fighting a losing battle on that. And so, but we had some minorities. But we made an effort from the board level with Philip and Bill both to, and Bill was a school principal also, Bill Simmons, and a county commissioner at one time. And so we made an effort to do that. And so that goes way back in the late 80s, early 90s. So, and then you had very few minorities on campus. You had a few, but not many. But we made a real effort. We sent them out trying to recruit them. They wanted to go, the younger crowd wanted to go to the cities where there's more opportunities, more social opportunities than here. Because then we were known as a retirement community, not as a big as business community as we are now. But then that's all changed when Dr. Dempsey got here. It's changed a lot because things have changed in the makeup of the area. I noticed today, if you look at graduation, we're about a third. So maybe 40, 30, something like that.
So that's changed a lot.
Changed tremendously. Yeah. And Hoke. I mean, Hoke County, we had a campus down there. It was a 1-room office. That was our campus in Hoke County when John came. That was it. We did a few programs, but not much. And then the Upchurches gave us the land to put that building on. So I've seen a tremendous amount. In fact, one of the histories was right at Raymond's end of his term here, Raymond and I had to fight a battle because some people wanted to move the Hoke out from under us into Robinson, and we fought that and won that battle. And then when John got here, we began to work as Hoke started to prosper some. We started doing more things there. And then we got the land for the campus done, and that's made a tremendous difference. We used to just rent offices or rent vacant space downtown. That's where we taught. Or we teach at the high schools, at the high school. So, but yeah, Hoke is now a real part of this. When John came, it wasn't. So that's been a part of our growth also.
What can you tell us about the roles Dr. Owens and Dr. Wallace played in this college?
Well, Dr. Owens, first of all, he brought me into this world. He was a great guy in Pinehurst. I remember my parents taking me over to see him during the war, during the Korean War and all, and take me to his offices behind his house in Pinehurst. He was just an excellent doctor, a great community member. He was a trustee, and he got involved with Audrey Kennedy from Massachusetts, who spent her winters down here. And he was her doctor and very good friend. And she gave $1 million to us to build Kennedy Hall. And he did that. And he was, when I got on the board, he was kind of my mentor. And his office was not too far from my office. So he would call me and say, would you come by here at lunch? So I'd go by and see him. And he'd say, we need to do this, or we need to do this, and I want you to think about this. And so he was just a great guy, and we did a lot of stuff that he wanted done, but he's the one that got the foundation going. He helped to get it going with the money from Kennedy and other wealthy people that he knew, and along with Raymond. So, and the foundation, in my opinion, has probably helped us position ourselves and do things better than any other college in North Carolina or in the country. The foundation has given us an opportunity to really do things that no one else can do. And today it's very important. So I'm always been a strong believer in the foundation, strong believer in that board, and you got to. And on foundation boards, you put one or two types on it: people that can either raise money or people that can give money. You don't need anybody else on it. Foundations are separate. You want people who can give or raise money, and we've been fortunate enough to do that. So, and that's why our foundation has helped us a lot. So. And that's one of the most important things.
We know you have a fondness for our nursing program. Why did you see it as integral to Sandhills Community College's success as a college?
Well, Dr. Owens was really behind starting that, and that's why he got Kennedy Hall, and to get the nursing program going really well here. But if you look at healthcare, and what is healthcare? It's our #1 industry in Moore County. So we've got to have the nurses so our hospital and our doctor's offices, our clinics, and all can operate. So that's the biggest reason. It is an economic resource for us that we need to make sure that we've got adequate people in. Now my daughter, who finished college and who hires nurses in Wilmington, but she used to work over here at First Health when she got out of college. So I understand that because I talk to her frequently about what they're doing and all. And then I talk to them over here because I do some work with some of First Health. But I think it's one of the most important things, because to have a very good retirement community, you've got to have good health care. If you've got good health care, you've got to have good nurses and good doctors, and we've got those. So it's important for Sandhills to develop those technologies and those students to come out of Sandhills so we can supply it to the hospital and all the healthcare industries here. So I've been a strong supporter of that for the simple reason Dr. Owens was, and he impressed that we need that, which brings people here. If we got good health care, people are going to retire here or they're going to come here to work.
What were the highs you experienced in working with the SCC Foundation over 3 decades?
Well, I guess the biggest thing is to see how it has grown, to see the foundation growth, and then to see what we've done with the scholarship programs, I mean, the scholarship programs we're doing now are just phenomenal that we're offering the students. Yeah. Our foundation is at such a level that we can handle about any problem we have for students. So if a student needs help, we're able to help those students. And that, because of the foundation, that's what's given us opportunity. We don't lose students for financial reasons. We may lose them for other reasons, but not financial reasons. So if you take that away, if you take that out as a problem, we can keep students unless they just don't want to go or they can't do the work. But if we remove that financial objection, then we're home free, and that's why the foundation has been so good here, because of the programs we do that benefit our students first. So and that's what it's for. And other colleges, if they could develop that, they'll do it. But we've got the strongest foundation in North Carolina and one of the strongest in the country. So, yeah, and that's because of where we are and who we are.
Whose idea was the foundation?
I think it was Raymond and Dr. Owens. But you had to have a foundation so you could do certain things, because state monies and local monies do not allow you the flexibility. So you had to create some kind of a vehicle where you could do things that weren't sanctioned by the state and local government. So, you know, purchase things or do other things, and also scholarships and all that stuff. So you had to have some kind of a vehicle, and the best way to do it, so people could write off their contributions tax-wise, and we could benefit from those. So now, I guess when I became board chair in '85, I would say the foundation was somewhere between $2 and $2.5 million. And today it's $30 million. So that tells you something. And one of the most important things I remember in talking to John and talking to Raymond too, when I became chair, when Raymond retired, a lot of the foundation people and trustees had retired. So I got to appoint a foundation board, and I got the right leadership in there. Bill Clement and some others, Nancy Kaiser and some of them. And then we put the right people on the board. And Dean Rich, who's deceased, a lawyer, helped me a lot there. Dean was a NCMB banker and lawyer, and he'd come here and was practicing law, and he helped me because he knew foundation work. And so I'd sat down with Dean and said, all right, I need your help. And I put him on the foundation board. And then he and I worked together to get the board fixed, because we'd lost about 2/3 of the board. And today, it's really done well. And also, if you, under the old setup, if you were a trustee, you remember the foundation board. So the foundation board was 21 people, 12 board members, and 9 others. So the board controlled the foundation. I changed that after Raymond retired. We changed that whole setup. And then went into the thing where a trustee can serve if he wants to, but we elect others. But yeah, the board at that time, the foundation board was controlled by the trustees. And half of them, 2/3 of them didn't give money and didn't care about it. But that was part of their role.
How did the Board of Trustees navigate around the pitfalls of politics in its 50+ years?
Well, we're all appointed politically, every one of us, but we leave politics at the door. It's never been at the board table, and it will not be in my term. And the 2 other chairs were the same way. They did not allow politics at the door, and that's what you got to do. We're appointed by political institutions, but once we get here, we do it. We do what the college needs best. And you've got to put that. If you put the needs of the college first, politics doesn't play a role in that. So we just don't play politics. We never have. Now, There's some schools that have, and they've suffered because of it. But we've not let that happen. And I think also, only having 2 presidents in 53 years, that's something else too. That speaks for itself. I never thought John would stay the years he stayed, but Raymond did 25, and then John, I thought maybe we'd have John for 15 years or so, and then he'd go on somewhere else to a 4-year, back to a 4-year. But no, and it's worked out great. So leadership consistency has been a real plus for Sandhills, with only 2 presidents and 3 board chairs in 53 years. That has helped. You don't get the turnover on the board, and you don't get the problems that come with turnover sometimes. We don't have people saying, I'm going to go on that board and I'm going to change things. Why would you mess up a good thing? So we've never had that kind of situation, which a lot of colleges and other institutions have gone through. We just don't have it. So I think leadership has been a part of it. So, and we're careful about who gets appointed here too. If we have input, then we want the very best on there.
George, you clearly have the heart of a politician. How have you personally helped us remain a working partner with the legislator?
Well, the legislature understands what we do. And here, one of the reasons I got on the college board, I had served with Jim Holzhauser as Deputy Secretary and Secretary of the Department of Natural Resources and Economic Development. That's recruiting industry. My main job as Deputy Secretary was to head up industrial recruitment for the state. And so my last year up there as Secretary was 1976. We had the first $1 billion year in the history of North Carolina in economic development. So I knew that community colleges played a vital role, because every industry we broke ground for that year, community college was there because they did the job training. And that was it's one reason community colleges were established in North Carolina, was to train workers for industry. So when the appointment came up here, I had served as political party chairman. We had won the county for the first time in the history. And so the chairman of the, Dr. Phillips, who had been elected a commissioner, he was a surgeon. He called me and said, George, what would you like? I said, I'd like to be on the college board. And he said, why? I said, I think I can help them economic development wise. I think I can help this area grow. I was an insurance guy, wanted to help the area grow and prosper. And I said, I understand that because of having worked in Raleigh with Governor Holzhauser, who was then living here. He says, I'll get back to you. So he called me back and said, you're going to be appointed. So once I got on, I saw what was going on. And as we brought business and industry in, we trained them. And that's the important part of it. So I knew that was one of the most important things that community colleges did. And then the education aspects are even greater. So, but it was a job training thing that I had a real interest in helping this area grow. So that's why. And then I've been here since 1981.
What key political figures truly understood the importance of North Carolina community colleges?
Well, I think all the governors have understood it very well. All the governors have been tremendously supportive of community colleges. And because they understand, number one is the job training. Number two is the education of our citizens. We do it better and less expensive than the university system for the first 2 years, in my opinion. Now, we don't really compete with them, but you look at a student that comes here and gets that first 2 years in, he's got a stronger base than the student at Chapel Hill does. Because they got grad students teaching, we've got full professors teaching. And that's the difference. They may be in the class at Chapel Hill with 500 students. They're in a class here with 25 students. So you get that attention, you get that specialized attention. And and then they can transfer from here and go anywhere. Now with the Promise program, it's just unbelievable what they can do now. So any student can come out of the high schools, can come here, well they can go here while they're in high school get the Promise program, go to school here free of charge, tuition-wise, for 2 years, transfer to a UNCP or somebody else like that that's got a Promise program, and their parents wind up spending $2,000 on a 4-year education for tuition. You can't beat that. And we give them a good base. Our students transfer from here and transfer to any college they want to in North Carolina with very few questions. And that's because Sandhills is the best. We have the best faculty and staff in North Carolina. But on the whole, we have not had anyone. We've been really fortunate here through my terms on the board that we've had great trustees. Really have, and I remember. I'll tell you something that happened. It was on Hope County. I got a call, and they said we need a trustee from Hope County. And so I had a friend that was teaching English out at the high school with my wife, and I called her and I said, I need some input. And she's from Hope County. I said, I need a trustee from Hope County. And she says, I'll come back to you tomorrow. So the next day she calls me and she brings me Mary Upchurch. Well, I had heard of the Upchurches, but I didn't know them. Now, I have relatives in Hope County through my wife's family, my first wife's family. And so I knew some of the relatives down there, so I made 2 phone calls. I said, tell me about Mary Upchurch. Oh, she's the greatest thing in the world. Well, that happened. She got appointed. Governor Martin appointed her, and the rest is history. We wouldn't have the hope today if it hadn't been for Mary and White. So, I mean, they're just fantastic people. So that's, when you go through doing things, you try and find the best solution, you know.
How did your work with SCC secure your role in the growth and pivotal leadership of ACCT and NCACCT?
Well, I was the previous leadership at Sandhills had served on ACCT and NCACCT. And so I had a good friend named DeWitt Rhodes who was a trustee at Winston, and he encouraged me to get involved. So he got me on the board as a trustee, and so as a board member. And then I moved through the ranks on that and became the chair. And my wife was elected to the Senate, state Senate. Well, I was chair of the NCACCT. Well, I had to go up and lobby. Well, naturally, Tina was on the education committee. Where did I go lobby? Where I was known. And so Dennis Wicker from Sanford, who I knew was lieutenant governor and was head of the community college system, chairman. And so we struck a deal, and I had Helen Dowdy, who used to work in the college's office and had retired, had come over to run the trustee organization, was our first full-time executive director. So we would go over to the legislature and lobby. And we got some programs up, and we got some money. We got the legislature for the first time to give us money direct because we were over there working the senators and representatives. And they liked what we did, and Dennis Wicker loved it. So we became, and we got other schools to participate. And so we became a lobbying force, and it worked. And we got money, special monies to help the community college system. And that was it was because we had enough people interested to go do it. And then we worked on those representatives and senators from the local areas that could help us. And so we had a very good program, and it worked. And so I went through the chairs, and we had a very good operation. And then I ran nationally, got elected in Dallas, my first chair, and then I went through the chairs there, and worked the National Association, which is different than the state. But the state association has done a lot of, our trustee organization has done a lot of good for the colleges. So, and we benefited from it.
What have been the keys to success here at Sandhills?
We've done well here because of leadership. We've had 2 great presidents. We've had always good board members. And a bad board member doesn't last. We've had very few. I wouldn't say we've had any bad board members. Everybody's been great. Our board members serve longer than normal at most colleges. So that consistency and understanding the objectives of what we're trying to accomplish here, and then having the great leadership that we've had from the two presidents. It makes it a lot easier on a board chair when you've got presidents like Raymond Stone and John Dempsey. So, I mean, my involvement is merely to ratify what they do. Every now and then we may, have to say we need to do this or that, but most of the time we're just ratifying what they do because we've had great leadership, and that's what sets Sandhills apart from from many of the other colleges. So that's it. But we provide a tremendous resource for this area on a beautiful campus, and we do an outstanding job. So it's easy for a board member, for a board chair, really to operate, because it's all, the systems are in place and they perform. I think the change of the foundation, the Hope County, Mary Up Church, the hiring of John Dempsey, those three things are probably three of the most important things that I've accomplished as a board chair. And to stop and there's never been a fight. My mother and grandmother taught me, knock on wood, George, that we've never had a major fight in the history. That's excellent. The board, so we do it right.
What are your thoughts on the next chapter for Sandhills?
The biggest change the college is going to face is going to be when John retires. Because when John retires, George is retired. So I will go through the search, and because I'm appointed for another 4 years. But that's it. And we got leaders on the board so they can handle it. So Sandhills will be fine. But we got to make sure the next president is a Raymond Stone and John Dempsey. He's got to be like them, and that's kind of, you set the bar high, but you got to go find one, and that's very important.